Hey everybody, we're going to start something new today, and that is inequalities. So we've been working on equations. So equations is when you have two expressions that are equal to each other on opposite sides of your equal sign. But if you think about what the prefix in means, it means not. So an inequality is something that is not equal. So the definition of an inequality is a mathematical sentence that compares expressions containing one of these symbols. So if you look at the first one, that one is not equal to. If you look at the second symbol, excuse me, that one, of course, is greater than. The next symbol is less than. So these are all symbols that you should be familiar with. The last two you might not be as familiar with. So this one is greater than or equal to. So we'll talk a little bit about that and look at some examples of what that means, how a number could be greater than or equal to something. Greater than or equal to. And then the last one is another combination. So the first one is less than, and then underneath it you've got a single bar. So that inequality symbol is read less than or equal to. Okay, I'll zoom out so you guys can check all those. So not equal to, greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. All right, so let's take a look at this first inequality. That first inequality is read t is not equal to 4. If you look at the next inequality, that would be read t is greater than 4. Sorry, I do not have the best stylus. I left my good one at school. Boo-hoo. Doing the best I can with what I've got at home. All right. So that is simply how they're read. We're going to take a look in a minute about what that means. Solution of the inequality. You guys know from studying equations, the solution to an equation is what you determine your variable to be equal to. So the solution to an inequality is any number that makes the inequality true. So a solution to an equation, what we've been working on, any number that makes the equation true. Very similarly here, the solution to the inequality, any number that makes the inequality true. Solution set is a little bit different because with equations, you can only have one possible solution for your variable. But with an inequality, you can have multiple solutions. So the solution set is the set of all solutions in an inequality. So if you look at this first example here, if we look at n is greater than or equal to -2. So I'm thinking of numbers that could be greater than or equal to -2. So I'm going to think about the number 0. Is 0 either greater than or equal to -2? Check. Yes. No, it doesn't have to be both. It does not have to be equal to -2. It has to be either greater than or equal to -2. What if I had a solution of -5? Sorry about that. Is -5 greater than or equal to -2? No. What about the number 4? Is 4 greater than or equal to -2? Yes. What about the number 1? Is 1 either greater than or equal to -2? Yes. All right, so now we're going to teach you how to graph the inequality. When you guys see the word graph, probably a lot of you are thinking about the kind of graphing that we've done already this year in the coordinate plane, or a bar graph, a line graph, etc. This is a different kind of graphing. So from this day forward, you're going to hear the word graphing in math used to mean different things. When we're graphing an inequality, we're going to show all of the solutions that satisfy the inequality. We're going to show all of the numbers that could be a solution for your variable. So let's take a look at what we're graphing. The inequality says x is less than, excuse me, I was just outside, got a tickle in my throat. X is less than or equal to 3. If we scooch down the page, here are our directions. So number 1, find the starting point and put a circle there. Number 2, decide which direction the arrow will point. Number 3, decide if your circle is open or closed. And number 4, check your answer by picking a number to see if it works. Let's go back to number 1. Find the starting point and put a circle there. The starting point is going to be the number that you see on the right side of your inequality. So I see the number 3. So I'm going to find the number 3 on my number line, and I'm going to put a circle at the number 3. Step 2, decide which direction the arrow will point. If you look at the inequality sign less than, which I'm highlighting for you right here in yellow, x is less than or equal to -3, you want to find the matching sign on your number line that is going the same direction as the inequality. So less than points to the left. So this entire inequality is going to be pointing to the left. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your pencil or your stylus and you're going to highlight your entire line going all the way to the arrow. Because what that's doing, anywhere that your line is darkened, is going to show that any of those numbers could be a solution. Number 3, decide if your circle is going to be open or closed. So let's go back up and look at the inequality that we were given. If you have or equal to as part of your inequality symbol, that's going to be a closed circle. And I'm going to explain in just a second what that means. Closed circle means you're going to go back to the number line, find the number 3, and you're going to fill in that circle. We fill it in if it was greater than or equal to, or if it was less than or equal to. An open circle would be less than greater than or less than. Now, why did we fill it in? Because the solution says that x is less than or equal to 3. So let's say that I ate a good dinner and my mom baked some yummy cookies, and I asked my mom if I can have some cookies. And she said, yes, Susie, but you can have no more than 3. Well, if my mom says I can have no more than 3 cookies, can I have 3? Yep. Can I have 2? Yes. Can I have 1? Yep. Could I have 0? Yes. I can have no more than 3 cookies. So because 3 is a possible solution, that's the reason that we darken the circle. That is showing that the number 3 is included as a solution to the inequality. These numbers over here to the right are not solutions to our inequality. One moment, please. These numbers over here to the right are not solutions to the inequality. None of those numbers would work. Now I'm just showing you to make this obvious. None of those numbers, you don't typically cross those out, but none of those numbers would work. If my mom says you may have no more than 3 cookies, I can't have 4, I can't have 8, I can't have 50. I can only have 0, 1, 2, or 3. All right. So we're going to try to graph this one. First step, put a circle at the number that you see. So I'm looking at C is greater than -1. So I'm going to put a circle at -1. Next step, decide if your arrow is going to point to the right or the left. So again, what I say is look at your inequality sign. That inequality sign is pointing to the right. Look at your number line and find the arrow that's pointing in the same direction. This arrow down here is also pointing to the right. So that's the direction that your line is going to go. So you're going to darken all of those numbers, and that is showing that any of the numbers to the right of -1 could be a solution. So I'm going to darken my arrow, and I'm going to darken all those numbers. All right, so let's think about what this could mean. The temperature was greater than -1. The temperature outside was greater than -1. If the temperature is greater than -1, it can't be -1. So this is when we go back to an open or a closed circle. And this is going to be an open circle because if the temperature was greater than -1, the temperature can't be -1. So any of these numbers down here to the left, including -1, cannot be a solution. If the temperature was greater than -1, all of these numbers could be the possible temperature. All of these numbers or any number greater than that. The temperature could have been 0, could have been 5 degrees, could have been 60 degrees, but it could not be -1. So we're going to leave that circle open. All right, let's move down to the next one. M is less than -5. Step 1, put a circle at the number that you see in the inequality. Put a circle at -5. Decide which direction you're going to darken your line. So again, what I like to tell my kiddos is take a look at the inequality symbol and which direction is that pointing? That's pointing to the left. Find the arrow on your number line that's pointing in the same direction. So those two arrows should match. Now you're going to take your pencil or your stylus and you're going to darken all of the numbers to the left of -5. So this could mean the temperature outside was less than -5. The temperature outside was less than -5. If the temperature was less than -5, it couldn't be -5. So that's going to be an open circle. If the temperature was less than -5, it could have been -6, -7, -8, -9, brr, or -10. So that's going to stay an open circle. All right, we've just got a couple things left to do, and that's talk about real world problems. AJ has to get higher than a 90 on his next math test in order to keep his B in class. Take a careful look at what those words say. Has to get higher than a 90. Well, if he has to get higher than a 90, he can't get a 90, right? So what number is higher than a 90? A 91. So the first thing that you're always going to do is put your X on the left and the number that you see in the problem on the right. So let's think about what inequality we're going to choose. Is it going to be less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. He has to get higher than a 90. Well, he can't get less than a 90, so I'm going to erase that as a choice. He has to get higher than a 90, so he can't get less than or equal to a 90, so that's not a choice. He has to get higher than a 90. Could he get greater than 90? I think that one's going to work. What about greater than or equal to a 90? Is 90 higher than 90? Nope. So the only inequality that's going to work here is greater than. And then just like we did with equations, we're going to put a box around our solution. Now, this is going to change it up a little bit. What if it says that he has to get at least a 90? What if AJ has to get at least a 90 on his test? So I'm going to put my X and my 90, and then I'm going to think about what has to go there. At least a 90. So he could get greater than a 90, At least means his score actually could also be equal to 90. So the wording in your problems is going to tell you which sign you have to use. All right, last thing we need to talk about down here at the bottom is just a little helpful chart for you, your inequality symbols. So key phrases starting I think next week, you guys are going to be reading some word problems. And based upon the words in the problem, you're going to be writing your inequalities from that. So you're definitely going to want to hang on to this notes page to help yourself with those word problems. If you see the words less than or fewer than, that's a clue to you that you're going to use the less than symbol when you're writing your inequality. If you see words like greater than or more than, then you're going to use the greater than symbol in your inequality. It seems like these words are most often used in math problems: less than or equal to, at most, or no more than. If you see those words, that signals that you're going to use less than or equal to. And the last one, if you see the words in the problem greater than or equal to, at least, or no less than, at least is used a lot. No less than is also used a lot in math problems. If you see those words, that tells you that you're going to have to use greater than or equal to. Alrighty, so that is it. Make sure you email myself or Mrs. Gormel if she's your math teacher with any questions. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.